Hello, Billy Rainford here from Direct Motocross with another Zoom interview here. We've got Zeb Dennis, all kinds of stuff going on in Zeb Dennis's world right now. So, Zeb, thank you very much for sitting down and chatting with us today.
Of course. Heck yeah. Thanks. Stoked to be here.
All right. Now, it was pretty easy getting this all set up, wasn't it?
Yeah, I went through two computers, a couple different emails. I could hear you at one point, see it, couldn't make it happen. So we went back to the cell phone. Like I said, at least I know how to run a phone decently. So we're on air now, man. We're good. We're live.
All right. We are on the air. SCTV is on the air. Wow. I show my age. Well, obviously, I might throw a reference out there, but that was an SCTV. Anyway, this is brought to you by Atlas Brace. So thank you very much to the folks at Atlas Brace for always being behind stuff here at Direct Motocross. Big thanks to those guys. Zeb, we got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. I mean, there's changing things in your role. There's changing things in your role in life. You guys are part of the series coming up. We got all kinds of stuff to talk about, coronavirus stuff.
Yeah.
Canceled weddings. We got, geez, I mean, Zeb, your life is just kind of going crazy. But let's back it up. For people who don't know, Zeb Dennis here, one of the flashiest, most stylish riders ever to throw a leg over a bike in Canada here. Maybe not the fastest guy ever, but hey, that's
right.
Style counts.
At least we got some style. That's it. That goes a long way, I think.
I'm kidding. He's super fast as well. So let's not sell him short there at all. But let's back it up. Some people who don't know who Zeb Dennis is, you're up there at Moto Park. We'll get into all that kind of stuff. But backing up into your motocross story, I don't actually know it either myself. How did you first get into racing moto?
I feel like it's similar to a lot of other people. We had a PW50. Dad got me that when I was like 3.5 years old. I used to live in Crystal Beach, so I rode the beach a bunch. He kind of saw that there was a bit of talent there, I guess, as like a goon rider going down a straight line. I guess you can see that. He did a mill run, and it actually went to Langton, which is by Gopher Dunes. The mill lady that my dad was speaking to kind of got us onto that there was a race at Gopher, so we went and did that in 1993, and man, we were hooked since. We did a few races in CMRC, then we ran a MRA, it was called. I think it was like a District 14. So it was like Wheatley. There's a track in Windsor, and like a couple cool things. That's where I actually met Kyle Snellgrove and the Snellgrove family, and kind of been friends since there. That's with the OG hookup and all that stuff. Yeah, man, it was like I did the PW thing and kind of graduated from there. We built, before the KTM 50s, we had one heck of a PW50. My dad had a 60 piston jammed in the thing, a monoshock. It had like a towny scooter rear end, so it had 2 speeds. The thing was just a Frankenstein, but we won a lot of races on it.
This has got Mini Dad Protest written all over it.
Oh, yeah. This is before protest was a thing, though.
Hey, no, back it up. You said Crystal Beach. Where is Crystal Beach?
So that is like south, like Fort Erie. So Crystal Beach and then Niagara Falls is kind of where I grew up, so.
Dude, Emily, her dad ran the Crystal Beach amusement park.
Like the actual park?
Oh, yeah, the whole thing. He was in charge of the park.
Yeah, so my first few years of living there, I was pretty young, but I do remember the park a little bit, and then it closed down, obviously, but I think the Americans come over and took that over. But, man, the place was, I remember Hot Dog Alley and they had the Comet, the roller coaster, the Comet. The place is sick.
Yeah, Emily's a carny. She's going to love that I just said that.
That's amazing.
We're talking about carny. That's awesome. Yeah, Crystal Beach. Okay, cool. All right, well, that was an odd tangent. I didn't expect to go on there. But
right.
So I always like this question, too. What was your first race number, and how did you pick that?
There's quite a bit behind the race number, actually. Perfect. We went with 13. And like hopped around that for a little bit with 130, and then ended up with 713. And 713's kind of been like, I think that's what everybody knows me as a 713. But as a kid, 13 was my number. And man, so I was born March 13th, 86. I was born at the 1300 hour, like 1 o'clock. 13 letters in my name. The alphabet, like the 13th letter is M, which, I mean, now we're starting to make stuff up, is my dad's first name, Mark. So we kind of we ran with the 13 thing, and I feel like even when I was a kid, I was a bit of a bad boy, so 13 was kind of my thing. And then 713 just came about. I think I missed it as I got to big bikes. I missed the 2-digit number or whatever, and 713 just stuck, and that's what we've been kind of ever since. So.
See, I love those stories. That was one of the better ones. That was a good one.
It was like a long, I mean, we've had that thing dialed in from, like I said, like 93. As soon as we started racing, that was kind of our bread and butter there.
13. I think of now I'm going to think of you when I think of 13, but I still always think of Topher Ingles. You guys maybe same
Yeah,
troublemaker attitude.
exactly. The bad boys. We it's funny, man. 713. I think a lot of like employees and friends, everybody texts me like, "Hey, see what time it is? See what time it is?" As soon as you look at the clock, it's 713. So kind of, I think that goes with anybody's number, but we see
Yeah,
it a lot. So
that's great. Okay, cool story. See, I like that. Okay, now when you came up through the ranks, your Crystal Beach Carney days. Oh no, sorry, you weren't a Carney.
yeah.
What? Who would you come up through the ranks with?
Oh man, a little bit of everybody. We 50s was, I don't, like, maybe names people won't remember, but Jason Michaels, who was a big hopeful from like Niagara Falls way. 60s was Derek Fisher, was like the top of the class back in the day when I was like just graduating to 60s. 60s for me was Kyle Snellgrove. Kyle Keast was there. He was a little bit older, maybe 2 years on me. So Kyle was like a little bit above us. Kyle Keast, that is. Then from 80s, it was, man, again, like I was always in like the Kyle Snellgrove, Jason Burke. Burke kind of came around on 80s. Tons of battles. I could tell you stories for days of us button heads, and it was either him winning or I was winning, and there's been takeouts and fights after races and all kinds of good stuff. But it's good because Jay and I we've been best friends the whole time, and we still are great friends. So it's funny to look back on how your ego gets checked when somebody beats you, or your nerves, right? So that racing attitude, when everybody's there to win, it's funny how what friends can do.
And it's all it's funny how aggressive friends can be against each other, right? That's kind of weird.
And sometimes it's even more so than other racers, which is cool. But yeah, Jay and I go back a long way, and it's always, like I said, Kyle Snellgrove, Burke, and then intermediate days was, man, I stuck around that class for 3 years trying to win that title. I was hurt the first 2 years. So I went from everybody to, like I said, Snellgrove, Keith, those guys, all the way to my last year was Tyler Medaglia. And it's funny because we raced at Auburn Hills on 125s, I believe is how this went. And I got him a moto and he got a moto. And that was the only time we met that year. And then we got to Walton. He was on a 250F and just put a hurting on everybody. Like he was like 30 seconds every moto on everybody. We all went there thinking we had a shot at winning the title. And Tyler showed up on a Yamaha 250F and maybe even a 252 stroke and just smashed everybody. So that was actually his debut too, where he won the qualifier against Randy Valade. Okay. And that was the champion that year. So yeah, it's a funny story, crazy story.
What year was that?
2004, I believe. 304? Maybe three.
Okay. All right. Well, that's crazy. Yeah, you came up against some pretty heavy dudes. Now, did you do like what a lot of guys do? Did you go to the States and race amateur nationals? Any of that?
No. So growing up, unfortunately, mom and dad couldn't get across the border. So what races I did do in the States was Titan Tim Marks from Titan Cycle. I think everybody in the industry knows him still. I did get to do a couple races, like local New York stuff. So that was always a pleasure to go and race some fast kids down there. And that would have been courtesy of Titan Tim bringing me down there. But yeah, mom and dad couldn't go that route. So we didn't do too much states riding.
Okay. So your pro debut year was, how did that go?
I don't know if it was good or bad, but we were riding with a taped up wrist. I got hurt that year and just tried to run Walton. No excuses, but I think we were like 19 and 21 for the Walton, like when we turned pro, and that was 205, I believe. I turned pro in 205, so I would have done the last race of Walton. And then that was when Toronto Supercross was running too. So I got to do the Supercrosses on 125, which was pretty gnarly. But I got to do some cool stuff, man. I've been around for a while.
Right. Okay. Now, how did you get hooked up with the whole Moto Park thing?
2000, we went up there on a family vacation right before a Moto Park race, hanging out with the family, camping, that kind of stuff. And that was in my show-off days, where I would do heel clickers and no foot cans. And
when did those quit? When did those end?
I mean, it comes out every once in a while, but I stopped embarrassing myself, I could say, probably, I don't know, 10 years ago now. It was a good run. It was a good run of 10 years of being the wild child, as Costa and those guys used to say. But so 2000, Carl Bastido came and sat down with us, obviously the founder of Motopark. Carl's been around forever. Everybody knows Carl too. He sat down with my parents and said he wanted us up there. So that year in 2000, I stayed and helped Ryan Gauld do camps. So that's where I knew Gauldy. Everybody looked up to Gauldy back then, right? I mean, I think people still do. But became good friends with him, and I did camps. I got to stay and live for free, and I didn't get paid for helping out, but I was like, again, for my family, it was huge. Like the help that Carl had given with us, a free stay. And then in 2001.
Hey, where'd you go, Zeb? We lost Zeb. We're going to wait for Zeb to come back. Oh, he got kicked right off. I'll edit this out. Don't you worry. Come on, Zeb. There he is. And we're back.
I'm back.
Okay, sorry. Let's leave a little pause, and then I'll
My phone glitched and shut off. I don't know what happened.
I'll clip that off and join it all
Okay,
up.
sorry about that. We're
Okay,
good now. Everything's off.
Where were you again?
What was I just talking about?
Coming into
Carl being up there. Just finishing up with like how I was at Moto Park, I guess, right? How I got there.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good to go?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, like I said, Carl had stepped up and got there, and I worked for free in 2000, and we moved up there in 2001. My family actually let go of their house the winter of 2001. We moved up there, and man, I've been happily ever after since 2001. My mom and dad moved back down to Niagara Falls, and I stayed up at Moto Park, and it's been life.
That's amazing. Well, that's crazy. It's yeah. And now, okay, so what was your best? I mean, you did the entire tour, obviously. Sometimes, a couple times. What did you do? What was your best finish? Like, just quickly talk about some of that.
It's actually funny. I never did the West Coast. I was able to go fill in for Redline Yamaha, which I think you guys had something to do with. I know Kyle. So it was a fill in, and that was actually my best ride too. So I went out west one time, and it was Edmonton, and it was on like a pretty factory bike, I guess you could say. Excuse me. The thing was so fast that the first practice session I went out there, I actually had to ask them to tune it down because I was like wheeling and looping out off jumps, and yeah, it was funny. So like, I don't know what the guy was thinking when I first pulled up there and was like 24th after the first qualifying session. I'm like, hey, sorry about that. But anyways, the day turned around, and we got a decent start. First moto ended up 12th, sorry. And then second moto, Colton and I battled for the whole shot. Colton led, which is crazy because I can only say this one time in my life, but I passed Colton and was able to lead for about a lap and a half. And it was crazy. And I went to the pack. I actually fell down about halfway because it was raining, and it was kind of a crazy moto. And my glove fell off halfway, and I had to like get the bike going without stalling and put the glove back on. And anyways, I ended up 6th. So it was my best ride. I was 6th overall, and that was probably my best 450 ride. So.
Oh, cool. There you go. Nice, man.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Redline Power Sports days for sure. That's awesome. Yeah, they were some direct motocross stuff. So thanks to those guys. Now okay. So then obviously you love to jump. You're a jumping guy. You love the jumps.
Yeah.
Remember a few years ago. Now, are you calling it Steven's Step or Kyle's Chasm? What are we calling that?
I think it was kind of Steven's Step. I probably heard that more.
Okay. Now, whose idea was that crazy thing?
It was one of those things where it wasn't supposed to be a jump, but it's like anything. The faster the bikes go and the skills that the kids have nowadays is ridiculous. So I think if you build something that looks possible, people are going to jump it. And yeah, Kyle Stevens, phenomenal rider, crazy talent. And I think it was probably second lap. He just landed the step down and pinned it and jumped the jump. And then all of a sudden, there's probably like 4 or 5 of us who kind of had to follow suit. And that was just how the day went. Now all of a sudden we're jumping this jump.
All right. Now I got that photo. I posted that photo up when I mentioned that.
I saw that.
And if I had gotten down a little bit more, it would have looked like something from Krusty's. It would have looked like you're jumping the entire house, the whole building.
Jumping the tower, yeah, for sure. It's man, even crazier than that was we mowed it down, so like you weren't really supposed to jump it. Like we mowed the face off of it, and Dean Wilson came down. It was the year that he went to Walton, and he had heard about the jump and like the kids were jumping this bike, and he was on one of Mitch's factory 250Fs and still hit the thing with it mowed down. Came up
I
a bit
remember
short
that.
and blew his feet off, but we all like went out there like, no, like, dude,
Yeah,
you're not allowed to jump that. This isn't a jump. And he like
right.
laughed about it. Andrew McKeown was there, so it was a kind of like a funny little deal. But yeah, he still hit it, and even though like we like made it not possible, and Dean still got over it, so that was kind of cool.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that story. That was crazy. So at what point did someone say, you know what, this is a bit much. We're just gonna have to cut. Like, how come you decided not to? Too many kids were gonna try it.
Change the track. Yeah, it's so crazy with I think again with it doesn't matter what skill you have, the bikes are so fast that if you can point and shoot, people are gonna jump jumps, and sometimes it's people that probably shouldn't jump the jump. So we've had a few good crashes at Moto Park, as everybody knows. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, hit it, make it, hit it a few times, and that's it. Like I can go back a few years back, well, probably more like 12 years ago. There was a tabletop to tabletop that you weren't supposed to hit, and then Ian Hayden and Clint Sheely, if you remember that name, they jumped this berm and hit this thing wide open on 450s and jumped both tabletops. Like, well, we got to change that now. And like, it's so funny how everything evolves, right?
Well, I know you are scaring vet riders like myself away from the track. A little bit jumpy for us.
Yeah, and it's
hours.
You can't you peak them up so people go slower so the track's not as fast, but then the I'll call them the bread and butter riders of Moto Park, like our weekend guys, they're not as happy. But then you get like the racer jumper guys who want to do whips and all that stuff. It's hard to find that happy medium. So.
That's right. You come up to the jump faces and they all go like this now because you guys are just going up sideways and scrubbing them.
Everybody's making that C. You got to do a whip or a scrub, or you're not cool anymore.
Yeah, it's something. I'll work on that this year when I finally get the bike home here.
Lots of time. We got lots
of time. Okay, now Zeb, we got some recent stuff to talk about. I know what's going on there at Moto Park. I mean, we've got a whole bunch of things. Your role has changed. I think Ian has got some other adventures going on. What's going on?
Yeah, it's I mean, the title of my role changes a little bit, I think. But for me, you know what? I've always kind of been like the PR guy. I always do like the meet and greet and talk to everybody in the pits. I help a lot with the track, with dozing, and making sure that we're dialed in for practice days or race days. But I think now the biggest thing is maybe my title is going to change a little bit. We haven't actually discussed that part of it, but Ian, as people know now, the guy's busy. He always has a million things. Or maybe more money. We'll see. We'll see how the interview goes.
Yeah, that's right.
But I mean, Ian's busy. He's one of those guys who can't sit still, and he's done a great job with Motopark, and he has a good crew right now that he can count on. So, you know what? So not a ton is changing track-wise. He just counts on me a little bit more to kind of dictate the crew that we have and make sure that the job that he wants done is still going to be done on weekends and race weekends and all that good stuff. So it's I've wanted this for a long time. Ian knows that. We've been friends for a long time, and our working relationship has been great too. So kind of just like fell into it, and I'm a guy that he can trust, and obviously I trust him and his judgment. So we work together, and it's easy breezy.
Nice. Were you operations manager? What are we calling you? What are you?
I think that it was outside manager, and now maybe operations manager. And I don't know if I'm in the phone. I mean, I have a desk now, so that's cool. I don't really use it, but I have one.
Nice.
So.
You don't have a laptop that you can work, but you have a desk.
Well, you know what? The thing's not even that old, so I don't know why it crapped out on me, but here's us. It's the cell phone at its best.
Hey, Emily just walked over here, and I got to mention, Emily, he's from Crystal Beach and remembers the amusement park. One of the only people.
Right? I was right on Derby Road. I lived right on Derby Road, so she would know that.
Well, that was Ryan. I don't know if that's going to be recorded or not, but Ryan Gauld was just calling there. But anyway, yeah.
Perfect.
He's going, what? What's going on? Okay, so that's changed. And then another big thing. So the Rockstar Energy Triple Crown Tour comes around. We've had to make all kinds of changes. Obviously, the West canceled. Then we're trying to get enough races in the East here. Suddenly, Moto Park pops up on the schedule. This will be your first national, right?
First for us, for sure. Now, I can't name dates or anything like that because I'm sure Carl would be beside himself if I messed something up. But I know like they've done GPs and stuff like that before.
Oh,
and
I thought I was there.
Job. Yeah, so all of those, and I believe nothing past the 90s. Like I think 89 was the last one. Anyways, again, no dates, so I don't get in trouble. But Ryan really wants you.
I don't know what's going on. He has we have a call-in question, maybe.
Yeah, there we go. That's probably what it is. So yeah, it's definitely our first national and Ian's first national of being like the owner, the guy behind the scenes. But again, for us, like with track prep and stuff like that, it's not going to be crazy different. We meet with Kyle possibly tomorrow, sometime this week, see what they want to do. And I know we got to add a few seconds, probably more like 15 seconds to probably make them happy. So the track is so fast right now. So find out how to slow it down, and then add like a new section. So we will have a new section somewhere, somehow, something. I don't know anything yet, but we're gonna make it happen. And man, we're pumped. Like I think, with everything going on this year, and the way that I don't want to say the world, but the way that everything's been in 2020, it's going to bring a bit of new flavor to Moto Park, having the national and just that new outlook on things. And we needed a new spin. We needed some new flavor, and it'll be good. I think it's going to be great.
Okay, now did you guys do it because you could and you wanted to help the series, or is this somewhere you'd like to see yourselves going in the future, like hosting one? I mean, there's a lot of competition here in Ontario, I guess, for races.
Yeah, there's a bunch of good tracks, but it's been talked about for as long as I can remember. Like, should we do a national? Should we do something? But I feel like my personal opinion is we've been pretty used up with AMO races and the Motopark Cups and stuff like that, where it's not, doesn't have that like prestigious feel where Walton used to be like that, like back in the day. And they still have the prestigious feel, don't get me wrong. But when you would show up on the Sunday before the Trans Can, and it was still a cornfield or hayfield or whatever they had going on, and they're getting the track ready, that was like pretty surreal as a kid growing up. And I think with Moto Park having so many races, it was kind of maybe played out a little bit. So this is cool that we're not doing any races. Obviously COVID helped with that decision. And with like the one-off national and it's a new hype. It's like that new feel for everybody. I think it's going to be great.
Okay, cool. All right. Now, that kind of segues into the other thing too. I mean, I know you were supposed to have another race before, but you guys, this whole COVID thing, you guys didn't hold that event, right? So talk to me a bit about that. I mean, there's obviously different areas, different problems going on in the country with holding
races. For sure. Well, first off, hats off to AMO and Digger at Gopher for being able to make that happen and follow the guidelines and get through it. That was amazing. So great job, boys. I think for us and Derek as well, and even Walton, like we're all so watched right now. We're not a backyard track. So when we did have the police out a couple of times, but we were obeying the rules. Everything's good. It's just that little bit of township stuff that kind of leaned us away from it. I know Ian actually was the one emailing back and forth with them, so I don't know the final word on that. But just with us kind of sliding under the radar and being able to have our successful practice weekends, it didn't make sense to jeopardize it. I know we wanted to work with Ryan. And I think Ian and Ryan have been back and forth quite a bit, but it was to the point where like, do we really do this and pull the plug on it? Or do we roll the dice and see what happens? And I just don't think it was in our best interest to try to make that happen right now at the present. So that's all.
Okay, cool. Now I spoke with Derek, obviously Schuster, about them hosting a race, and then obviously trying to hold a national. I guess we just kind of have to wait and see how things develop when we get closer to the event about fans. Like people are asking, well, can fans go? Well, you really can't say yet, can you?
Right. And I think right now, like our thinking on it is teams and mechanics and everybody that needs to be there, but no spectators, which is a bummer for sure, because especially hosting an event like this is huge for us. But unfortunately, I don't think that that's the way it's going to be. And maybe it's going to change. I mean, that would be amazing if it did for everybody. Because I know all my friends are hitting me up like, hey, can I work? Can I get in somehow? Can I do this? Can I do that? Everybody comes out of the woodwork to ask a question like that. But I think, again, it's just one of those things that we have to wait on and see.
Right. The first thing is to be able to actually hold it, get the television going, have the coverage of that kind of going. And then whether or not people can come in, that's a whole other situation.
Yeah. So again, the track stuff, I mean, getting ready for the actual event is going to be the easiest part right now, which usually it's the opposite way, right? Like getting the track prepped and bannered and blah, 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 and the TV and this, I think that's all going to be the easiest stuff, where abiding by the new rules and making sure that every, T's crossed and I is dotted. It's pretty wild what we have going on right now.
Okay. Now, okay, so what about, I mean, you guys are usually busy. You mentioned your practice days, your camps and things like that. Are you guys able to kind of do some of that with within the restrictions?
So practice days have been great. Like I said, we did have the police show up 2 weekends. I've spoke to them both times, and it was, the full he say, she say thing where somebody in town called and said that there was 500 people sitting in a circle at Moto Park, and that's why the cops showed up. But they got there and saw that. I mean, we've done everything that we can. We have everything spaced out. No snack bar. If there is some food going in and out, it's to the window. It's like a drive-through window. You come up the deck one way and exit the other way, and the grandstands are ribboned off, and the fences every 6 feet, and blah 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 blah. Everything we can do, the hand sanitizers, and just like Derek and Ryan had to do last weekend or 2 weekends ago. Sorry, but people still want to call, and for some reason, I think everybody's been talking about it right now, want to shut a good thing down, which is crazy in my mind. But as long as we follow the rules and keep doing what we're doing, we can slide by, and not so much under the radar, but we're just doing what we have to do to make sure that it's possible for us.
Follow the rules, right? Yeah. We've got to these things have to jump through, and just got to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, is that same like for your training camps and things? How's that going to change?
So that is, we are going to be able to do camps. They're going to be a lot smaller. So I think everybody knows the last couple of years we've been to 50 to 70 kids a week. Obviously that's not going to slide this year, but we are going to be able to do day camps. So say it's 8 to 4 o'clock, we can get away with that. And then at 4 o'clock, the kids who stay there on site go back to their camper with their mom or dad. And, you do kind of the same thing the guys did 2 weekends ago at Diggers Race, where it's just, unfortunately, you can't come out. You can't have that, the mutual fire where everybody meets and hangs out. You can't, it's not in the cards this year. So we're trying to make it happen where families can stay in the room. So if they have 2 kids or something, they can do camp and stay in the rooms and just, again, abide by the rules and make sure nothing's overdone. And it'll probably be more like, 15 to 25 kids, maybe max. So a little bit different, but we can kind of in there and get something in. So
yeah, for a while, yeah, you just got to follow the guidelines, right? Okay, so when somebody wants to find out about that, basically just go to the website is the best thing to do, or give you guys a call, or what? You don't just show up. Right?
Yeah. So if you're on our email list, you would have gotten the email. We're really trying again. Like, I know social media is huge right now, but it seems like in our best interest not to just go out and, hey, we're open, we got camps, we have this, we have that. And I mean, we can, it's just why put any sort of pressure on the park or us with what's going on. So we've done an email list, and word of mouth is obviously huge. People love to talk. We all know that. So whether it's good or bad, everybody knows what's going on at all times. So that's kind of cool too.
Okay. All right. Now we talked about the racing and everything. Now this coronavirus didn't just screw that up. It's weren't you supposed to get married on the weekend?
Yeah. So that was, anybody who knows who's in my circle, whatever you want to call it. It's been a crazy year for that too. So we were going to be June 20th, 2020. And it was, we have like 200 people coming, of course, with my friends and her friends and family and that stuff. But we were going to try to postpone till September, but then September is a heavy month for weddings anyways. And then is it going to be gone? Not by the looks of it. So we ended up doing a full year till June 19th of next year. So that's the new date, and we're going to stick to that.
Wow, man, this is so tough, huh? Kids graduating, people trying to get married. It's just everything gets hit by this. And then to top it all.
Graduation and like the graduation thing and not being able to see your grandparents and all that stuff. And it's been wild.
Yeah. And now to top it all off, driving through Durham, your lovely fiance, he gets in an accident.
Yeah. So we got back from I'll call it the fake wedding. We went up there with with my parents to her parents' house and hung out for the weekend, kind of, did the family thing. Anyways, we got home, and Tuesday morning, Brittany went out to grab coffee because we had no milk in the house. And I was actually on the phone with Ian having a little meeting, and I got a call from a number that I didn't recognize, so I answered it. And yeah, Mr. Dennis, I think we have your wife here, and she's been in a car accident. So that was a little scary, but both parties are okay. No one's at fault. Insurance is good. Everything's good. No one's hurt. Car's right off, but that's what insurance is for. But we're healthy, and she's good. She went to the hospital and got checked out, and she's okay. So for what it was, it could have been worse, right?
That still blows me away that it was downtown Durham. I mean, I've driven through Durham an awful lot, and I can't even imagine a high-speed car writing off accident happening there.
One stoplight in the whole town, and that's where it was. So, and it's so, I mean, it's not funny at all, but there's no witnesses because Durham's small, but there's no cameras, no witnesses. They don't know, like somebody blew a red light. Brittany didn't have her phone with her. So obviously that was good. First thing I asked, like, where's your phone? So she wasn't on her phone, nothing silly like that. And the other driver said, he's like, I don't know if I blew a red light. And she, like, they don't really, I guess everything happened so quick. So anyways, no one's at fault. And we contacted insurance. Insurance is good. So she's okay. It's obviously the most important part, but another check off the list.
Yeah, crazy times. Yeah, throw those things in there. Now, what about? I know a few people talking about the vet national kind of thing. Is that something that's still going to happen?
It hasn't been talked about, but I honestly think we kind of go in for the national and help the Jetworks crew, the MRC guys out, do our best for that. And maybe if things calm down, like I know we would love to have, like a couple years ago, we did like the Hucka Bucka Slam, just like some fun events where it's nice to have those events where you can kind of give back and have a bit of fun with it. Kind of what we try to do with the Cups as well. But as of now, I don't think we would push the pressure on anything other than trying to do a good job for the MRC boys and running the Triple Crown event, which is, I think in my mind, super rad. And Motopark needs it. Like, again, it just goes right back to that new flavor. As in, same thing as when Ian took over from Carl. Carl was doing a good job. Ian came in, that new flavor, it just kind of hypes the place up and gets that new buzz going. So something like that.
Okay. All right, cool, man. Well, yeah, hey, thank you for finally being able to sit down and do this chat. Is there anything else going on right there that we need to talk about as well, or we cover everything?
I think we covered everything. I don't know if you can see the background a little bit, but I'm at the bike shop right now. So I'm there 2 days a week. I'm at Motopark 5. It's been 7 days a week for me for the last little bit, but I finished my deck off and I got a new truck. So I guess the old saying, hard work pays off, right?
Nice. Is Davin back there?
So no, I'm at the bicycle shop right now.
Oh, the bicycle.
Yeah. So I'm in Owen Sound. That's
I'm sorry. Okay.
We run a bicycle shop now too. It's called Bike Face. It's right downtown Owen Sound, and it's crazy. Like with I guess the COVID has been like bike sales have been outrageous. So we have like 3 students in here working. Myself, a mechanic. Carl is in and out of the place all the time. Yeah, it's pretty cool actually.
Nice. Are the trails? How about the mountain bike trails? Are they open at Moto Park?
They're not closed, but they're not totally ready. Again, with a couple of the students that we have here at the shop, they do half the time here and then half the time working on the trails at Motor Park. So we have some pretty cool things that are already done, and then some cool stuff that we're going to add, and just one more thing to kind of offer to the people there. And it's just, we still struggle, even though it's been 4 years, we still struggle to keep the bikes off of the trails and Ian's runway, which is obviously a huge deal for Ian. So for all of us, I should say, not just Ian, but it's when you see a bike, it's drop your shovel or whatever you're doing and go and run and kick them off the runway, which is kind of cool. But yeah, man, we got a ton of cool stuff going on. We still have the BMX pump track for the camp kids. The paintball stuff's going to be fired back up soon. The mountain bike trail, just keep adding, keep building.
Nice. It's not very often you get to say something as cool as that. Yeah, we're having a hard time keeping the kids off the runway.
So bad. Like you can hear somebody doing a burnout or something, and of course people just don't think, and it's on the cement in front of Ian's hangar, and like I'm probably the meanest guy about it, but I give people, like, there's no slack. If you're down there messing around, I got you. But the rest of the employees are kind of like, hey man, you're not supposed to be down here, but if they get me, they're unlucky that day. That sucks for them.
So are you still out there running around trying to keep control of that water hose? Are you out there on a daily basis too, or what's
If it's dusty, I'm there. It's, that's what's kind of cool about the job is you wake up on a Monday morning, you don't hate going there because it's never the same thing. I enjoy working with everybody. I have friends there every single day. And if I'm watering, I'm watering. If I'm pushing a pencil, signing something, I'm signing something. If I'm doing this kind of thing, riding, whatever, I can still sneak out, get some pictures and ride. Keep all the sponsors happy that are still behind me, hooking me up, hooking the old guy up some free stuff. So it's good, man. You know what? I love it. The place is amazing. I've been there for, like I said, 20 years. And it's home. So that's
amazing. Okay, well, hey Zeb, thank you very much for doing this, buddy. It's always fun to talk
awesome.
Talk with you up there at Moto Park and stuff. What do you want to thank? You just mentioned some people that have been behind it. Do you want to thank some folks?
Yeah, man, there's so many people. Obviously, Ian, of course, for giving me another opportunity. Carl for starting the place. We can go as far back as ever, but as of right now, people who are still kind of behind me is FXR. So Andy and Don do a great job hooking me up gear. I think I still have a new set from last year, and they just sent me 3 new sets this year. And I mean, I hardly throw a leg over a bike, so hats off to them. Kyle at OG's, Davin at Moto Mech, everybody, the whole crew. We had that training program too with Moto Fit and Drew from Evolved. Still, the whole family. It's it's not even so much sponsorship nowadays. It's more of a family thing. So everybody who makes it possible, man. You know how it goes.
I do. Just speaking of Davin Gross there, I remember driving all the way to California. Jack Wright decided to go at the last second. We drove out to California. Davin was out there living in his Sprinter van. He had a surfboard.
Living it.
We go down to the beach in the morning and stuff out there in California, and he'd hop in the water and then come out. And
yeah. Davin's good for the gypsy life, living the dream. So he has a few houses on the go now. He's into some real estate and some money makers, which is cool. The shop does great for him. It's cool because Moto Park needs a shop, and then obviously he needs a clientele to come to Moto Park. So it's a perfect hand-in-hand situation. And it couldn't work any better with him. So he does a good job. He's a good kid. So little squirrely, but he's a good kid.
He's got some style too. You guys, lots of style up there.
He does. He's the showboat nowadays. So I just let him do the whips and the heel clickers and all that stuff. And people love him. He's a good kid.
All right, Zeb. Well, let's cut it off there, buddy. Thank you very much for chatting. Glad we finally got to do this. Good luck with all your prep. I know there's so much going on right now, and operations manager will let you get back to work.
Awesome. Thanks, Billy. Thanks for the opportunity. Cheers.
All right. See you. Thanks.
Take care.